Welcome to the 10-year anniversary celebration of the Nehemiah Foundation and the official launch of Renew the Arts. Yay! So we wanted to talk a little bit today about what we've done, what we are doing, and what we will do.
So it's been officially 10 years since the Nehemiah Foundation launched in 2008.
So in 2008, my dad and I co-founded the Nehemiah Foundation for Cultural Renewal, and we got right to work producing a poetry book, Landfill of Discount Messiahs.
And then after that was Micah Stout.
Right, Without Reservations.
That still is one of my favorites. He's my brother, so that helps. But that album really set the tone for the kind of songwriting, kind of honesty, and kind of grit that we were really looking for future projects.
We had Brock's Folly, 3 records from Brock's Folly that we've done.
Brock's Folly is actually how I got looped into the Nehemiah Foundation. It was because our band got sponsored by the Nehemiah Foundation.
2 records from Warbler.
That guy is a killer songwriter. He's a fantastic musician, and his music has a lot of energy, and he doesn't pull any punches. So it was really fun working with him on a project that even got a Kickstarter selection on their homepage.
Yeah. So Anthony Quails.
Anthony Quails is classic country ballad songwriting, and he has the voice that goes with it. It's just, he's a songbird. His songs are all story oriented, so it's just a whole album of stories.
And that project was actually picked up by Under the Radar.
Right, featured as one of the best albums of the year.
Right.
So we got really great press from that. A lot of people really love that album to this day. Physic takes on those huge projects. The first one, Songs for Friends, each song is basically a letter addressed to a friend. And that album has some of the most hard-hitting love songs. And I mean, not romantic, but like Christian community hashing it out songs. Of course, Death is Their Shepherd was definitely our biggest musical undertaking to this point.
4 years.
We hired the Atlanta Master Chorale, which was unbelievable. That project was quite an undertaking. I think it's probably one of our most
ambitious.
Very ambitious.
Yeah, so how about Fiery Crash and Make Sure?
Josh Jackson is one of the most dedicated young singer-songwriters I've met yet, at all.
Right.
And he's very diligent with his craft, and it shows. He has ability and wisdom beyond his years, and it completely shines through that album, and we're working with him to do another album soon.
Right, Make Sure. All right, how about the Normal Knees?
It's like if you had a son who just would hole up and play guitar and would never talk to you, but then you were able to make an album with him, and he just bore his soul to you.
Right.
The kind of honesty and sincerity in that album just lays it all out there, and I think that's really important for Christians to be able to be vulnerable and honest, and that's a fantastic example of it. I just showed it to someone today, and it still rings so true.
Yeah. Civilized Creature.
Civilized Creature is surprising because the music is so catchy that you'd think that he'd just kind of not be very strong on lyrics.
Be like pop lyrics, basically.
But no,
they're not.
It's like pop music with hymn lyrics.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm like listening to it, I'm like, oh, this is wonderful. And then it's like,
it just hits you.
Oh, Ryan's an example of an artist that actually found us and was so excited that we existed, so excited that we do what we do, that he immediately just like brought his music to us. He's pretty self-sufficient, so really his releases through us are primarily an allegiance thing. He loves what we're doing, and he wants the accountability and the association that comes with releasing under our label or
and
moniker.
He's been so generous with us too. I mean, we just started a podcast, and Ryan not only allowed us to use his music for our theme music for season 1 and season 2 different songs, but even removed the lyrics so that we could just have an instrumental track to play underneath our intro. Those tracks that he gave us worked so very well for the podcast. And so let's talk a little bit about the podcast.
Just this past year, we launched a podcast, the Renew the Arts podcast, where we discuss the role of art and creativity in the church and in the world.
If you've heard our podcast, you've heard that before a few times. I think one of the most important things that we've done over this past 10 years is develop a very solid community of patrons and artists who are connected to one another, artists with accountability and also with just help. Like an artist will come in, they'll have songs. It's nice to have other songwriters to be able to listen to those songs and critique them and give feedback. And we've given huge amounts of feedback and written reviews for tons of different people over the course of the past 10 years. But that community that's developed around that, where artists have come in and said, I really feel like I'm at home here. And a lot of artists feel like they don't really have a home. They're kind of the black sheep of their family, and sometimes don't really feel so much like they have much to contribute to the church either. And so we've sort of caught them on the way out and said, hey, get back in the fold here. And, that's been, I think, one of the most promising and most blessed of the works that we've done in the past 10 years.
The more meals I shared with them and the more jokes that we all told in the studio, and just the brotherly love that I received from everybody. I realized it's not so much that you're just a business partner, you're more someone, you're a brother in Christ to them. You're not really just a colleague. You were accepted and loved by them with open arms.
There's been nothing but open hands with the Nehemiah Foundation.
There was always suggestions and a very open hand. It was an open hand, dude. Palm up. And that was just super dope. It was just like, I'm only trying to make this better.
It's more than a recording studio. It's a way of life that I've embraced with all my heart, just because it's good. This is a culture, a generation that it's going to be won over through their hearts and by art. And the Nehemiah Foundation, that's the purpose of it, to speak through art straight to the heart of a person. That's the dream, that's the vision, is that the gospel catch fire through art.
I've stopped thinking about this work as art. My passion for it and my drive for it is the gospel. The gospel is my first love. It just so happens that art and creativity, I think, are A, the best channel, and B, the artists are just coming out of the woodwork right now. So it's not only the most logical channel, but I see the Lord moving. So just seeing all that shaping up is very exciting for the future.
And in connection to that, after 10 years with the Nehemiah Foundation, we started this other organization, Renew the Arts, as a public charity.
The vision for Renew the Arts, because our sponsorship and all of our artist sponsorships and the production was ramping up so much, it made sense to move that program over to an organization that was more organized for broad support.
Right, because immediately when we started Renew the Arts, we joined to the board a very well-established movie director.
With new board member Isaac Dietz, who is an incredible filmmaker. He connected us to a project, a full-length documentary about the Christian music industry, which is obviously a thing that's very close to our hearts. Mm-hmm. And so our first full-length film sponsorship is this year. We gave our first grant to that, but it's called What Would Jesus Sell? We got involved in the first place because they wanted to feature Renew the Arts as an example of how Christian art and music could be made in the future that don't have as many pitfalls.
In the past 10 years, we've given about $200,000 worth of sponsorship value to artists in the church who are dedicated to their craft and to their faith. And we've been able to do that because of two groups of people. The first group of people have been incredible volunteers. We have music engineers, artists, collaborators who are willing to donate their time, get paid far less than they're worth, insist on being paid far less than they're worth so that they can be involved in these projects. But also, secondly, we've had a very faithful contingent of patrons who have given faithfully, consistently over the past 10 years so that we could support both our own organization and all these projects that we've been working on.
The last 10 years have been very productive, but I think it's already very easy for us to tell that the next 10 years are going to be way more productive. So we're really proud of what our artists have been able to create and accomplish in the last 10 years, and we're really thankful with the support that we've gotten. So if you've supported us in the last 10 years, it's actually hard to say how grateful we are. It's a organization that doesn't have much of a prototype, and we're incredibly thankful for people who are willing to step out and support us in these early days in the first 10 years. So thank you so much.